Okay, so this video is going to be about writing equations. So essentially we're going to be given a sentence in English and have to translate it into a mathematical sentence. From there you can solve it or identify parts of it. But the hardest part about the word problem, every time you come across a word problem, is having to create your own equations or changing the words to math. So this is just a little cheat sheet to allow you to kind of clearly see what words mean in a mathematical way. So when these words show up in the sentence, you can kind of figure out what type of operation to use. So whenever you see the first set of words, you know that you're going to be adding, right? If it says something plus something, or 5 more than 3, or the sum of, the total, increased by or added to, all of those mean add. Subtract would be minus, less than, and the difference of, and decreased by. Now we're going to see the way that these can change depending on which phrase you use. The less than and decreased by can affect where the minus sign goes, or where the numbers go on the minus sign. Words that mean multiply, the product of, twice, double, triple, of, and per. Words that mean divide, and the per is like $5 per pizza, so that would be 5 times pizza. Words that mean divide are divided by and quotient of, and then equals, this is the big one, is the same, anything with the word same in it, yields, equals, amounts to, all of those are equals. So from here, I'm just going to do 9 examples and move forward. So this first one, the sum of twice a number and 10 is 54. What is that number? So let's figure out the parts. The sum, that means add. Twice a number, that means 2 times a number. And 10, so we're going to do something with 10. Is, the word is, means equal. What is that number? This is my x. X is a number. I don't know what that number is, but it is some number. From that, I can write this equation. So the sum of, so I have a plus sign. Twice a number. Well, I have let x be a number. 2x, twice some number. The sum of that and 10, so plus 10, is equals 54. Equation is written. Now we can solve this to figure out what that number is. So I'm trying to get this x term by itself, subtract the 10 from both sides, plus 10 minus 10, those cancel out, and I have 2x left on the left. On this equal sign, again, I have to stay constant. Whatever I do on one side of the equal sign, I have to do on the other. 54 minus 10 is 44. Now to get this term by itself, the x, right now it's being multiplied by 2. I can then undo that through division. So I'm going to divide by 2. If I did it on the left side of the equal sign, I must do it on the right. And now I can divide. X is 22. That number itself is 22. Okay. The sum of the measures of the angles of all triangles is 180. If one angle of the triangle measures 45 and the other 2 angles are equal, what is the measure of the other 2 angles? So if I drew a little triangle, I say one of these is 45 and the other 2 are equal. What are the measures of the other 2 angles? That's x. X is measure of angle. Here and here, I know that they're the same. Altogether, their sum, which means add, is 180, so that's going to be equals 180. So I have 3 things being added equal to 180. The first one of the triangle measures is 45. It's 45. The other 2 are equal. I don't know what the other 2 are, but I know that they're the same, so I'm going to add x and x. Now this is a linear equation. I can combine like terms and start to solve. X plus x. 45 plus 2x, that is x plus x, equals 180. Now I'm trying to get this x term by itself, so I got to get rid of this 45. I'm going to do that by subtracting. 45 minus 45 is 0, leaving me with 2x equals 135. Now to get this x by itself, I need to divide by 2. X is 60, I'm going to use a calculator, 65, no, that would be 130, 67.5, mental math, yes, 67.5. That would be the measure of the other two angles. Next, a new one-year membership at a gym costs $160. This includes a one-time registration fee of $25, along with a monthly fee. How much does each month cost? So that is my question. How much does each month cost? That means that is my X, cost of month. I know that I've already had this gym membership for a year and it cost me $160. It includes the one-time fee of $25, so no matter what, I paid $25, plus, along with, a monthly fee. Now, I've done this for a year. There are 12 months in a year, times whatever that cost of the month is. That cost me $160 for the year. Now, I can solve for X. Here's my X term. That means I need to move this 25, so I'm going to subtract 25 from both sides. 25 minus 25 is 0, leaving me with 12x equals 160 minus 25 is 135. Now I'm going to try to get the x by itself one more time. Here it is. I need to do something with that 12. So I'm going to divide both sides by 12. X is 1125. So creating the equation and then being able to solve. All right, the length of a rectangle is equal to triple its width. What are the dimensions of the rectangle if it has a perimeter of 86 centimeters? All right, so again, I'm going to draw this. I'm a big fan of drawing things out. The length is equal to 3 times the width. So if I let this be the length and this be the width, just because of the way I drew it, the length is equal to 3 of the widths. That's good to know. What does perimeter mean? Well, perimeter is all the way around the outside. So it's length plus width plus width. That's the perimeter. Now I'm going to plug in what I know. I know that the length of a rectangle is 3 times the width. I also know that it has a perimeter of 86. So this equation for perimeter that I just wrote, length plus width equals P, I can plug some stuff in. Going in for P is going to be 86. Now I've got L equals 3W. That means for each place that L is, I'm going to put in 3W. The W's can stay W's. They're solid. Now I have one equation with one variable. This is solvable. Combine your like terms. 3W plus 3W plus W plus W, these are 1W's. So that's 3, 6, 7, 8W is equal to 86. Now, to get the W by itself, divide by the 8. It's being multiplied by 8, so divide by it. Width is 10.75. I can also find out my length because I know my length is 3 of my width, so it's 3 of 10.75, which is 32.25. So again, I don't know what I just did. Again, I can create equations, solve them, and get the answer. The whole part is being able to change the words into some math. It's a big one. Kristen has a job in sales of vacation packages. On top of her normally weekly income, she makes a certain amount of money off of each package that she sells. The amount of money she makes per week can be modeled by the following linear function. So I've got M of P equals 400 plus 35P. What does the 35 and 35P represent? So let's break this down. M of P is pretty much what these kinds of things mean is once P is my input, my function is done. So this is basically the money after P number of packages. So now let's define the other parts. I have this 400. Why does it not change color to me? I have this 400 and I have this 35P. I swear. It's stupid. 35P. So one of them has the variable, which means one of them relies on something. She makes a certain amount of money off of each package and a normal weekly income. So this 400, no matter what, she gets plus 400. Even if that 35P and P is 0, she still gets 400. So this is her normal income. Which means that her 35P is money off of packages. Basically her commission. So what does the 35 and 35P means? Well, if P is the amount of packages that she sells, then 35 is the money she makes off of each package. Or money she makes per package. There. So this is how you can kind of break down the equation and figure out what each part means and have it benefit you so that you can actually understand why these numbers go together. All right, Amanda's cell phone company charges $22 a month for phone service plus 50 cents for each text message after 200 messages. If the bill was $48, how many text messages did Amanda send? All right, so charges $22 a month. No matter what, they're charging $22. The bill was $48, so it equals 48. It charges, no matter what, $20 a month, and then 50 cents for each text sent after 200 text messages. How many text messages did Amanda send? So this is my X. X is number of texts sent. She gets charged 50 cents, so 0.50. I'm taking myself some more room here. Per text after 200 text messages. So it's not going to be 0.5x because then you would be charging her for every single text. Instead, we want to take away 200 text messages because she doesn't get charged for the first 200. So no matter how many she uses, she is not going to get charged for 200. Now this is only, we would only use this if the monthly bill exceeded $22. If the monthly bill did not exceed $22, then she didn't send 200 text messages. But this one, or $22, yeah, I did say 22. She didn't exceed 200 text messages. Here, the monthly bill was $48, so she did exceed the 200 messages. From here, I'm going to solve for x. So this 22 will stay. Plus, I'm going to take care of these parentheses. I'm going to distribute. 0.5 times x is 0.5x. 0.5 times 200 is basically half of 200, which is 100. And that is a minus because of the minus sign inside the parentheses. Now let's combine our like terms. I have 22 and negative 100. That gets me a minus 78 equals 48. Okay, now I need to get the x term, work to get the x term by itself. So I need to isolate this term. Which means I need to add 78 to both sides. Plus 78 and minus 78, those cancel each other out. I have 0.5x equals 78 plus 48, 126. And now I'm going to divide by 0.5 to get that x by itself. 126 divided by 0.5. X is 252 text messages. So she sent a total of 252. She went over by 52. So there is a way to just play with numbers and figure it out, but this will always produce the correct answer. Correct. All right, the product of a number and 6 less than 3 times that number is 72. What is that number? All right. What is that number? X is a number. Let's define its parts. Product of, that means multiply. I guess I should use the dot for multiply. Doesn't look like a dot, whatever. And 6 less than, the word less means subtract. And then 3 times that number, that's 3 times a number, is, the word is, means equals 72. So I have the product of a number, and 6 less than 3 times that number is 72. So I have 2 things I'm multiplying. Just to make my life easy, I'm going to put them in parentheses so I don't forget that I'm multiplying. I know that it is 72, so equals 72. Now think about what it is that you're multiplying. A number and 6 less than 3 times that number. So if I'm multiplying a number, I have a value to put in for a number. It is x. And then 6 less than 3 times that number. So is it 6 minus 3x or 3x minus 6? Now, the word less than means you want to take away 6 at the end. 6 less than 3 times that number. You're going to start off with 3 times that number and less it by 6. So it's going to be 3x minus 6. From here we solve. X times 3x is 3x squared because you multiply 2 x's together. 6 times x is 6x equals 72. This is a quadratic. Anytime you have an x squared, try to factor. You cannot factor until first the equation is equal to 0. So that means I need to move this 72 over to the other side. 3x squared minus 6x minus 72 equals 0. You could factor straight from here. I can recognize that all of these numbers have a 3 in them. So I'm going to divide everything by 3. I get x squared minus 2x minus 24 equals 0. 0 divided by 3 is still 0. Factorable. Factors of my last number, negative 24, that add to my middle number, negative 2, are going to be a negative 6 and a positive 4. So x minus 6 and x plus 4, which makes my answers 6 and negative 4. Good. You can plug them back in to check. I did not do that, so I guess I would have to make sure they both work. If you do, we would have, if we let x be 6, right, it was 6 and negative 4, this would be 6 times 3 times 6 minus 6. It would be 6 times 18 minus 6. 6 times 12, it is 72. 6 works. Plug in the other number. X is negative 4. Negative 4 times 3 times negative 4 minus 6. Negative 4 times negative 12 minus 6. Negative 4 times negative 18 is a positive 72. So negative 4 works as well. Yay. I think this is the last one. Nope, we got 2 more. A number and half of that number decreased by 6 is 15. What is that number? So again, x is a number. A number and half that number, and means plus. Half that number is 1/2 number. Decreased is subtract. And then is equals. So I'm going to read the sentence again. A number and half that number decreased by 6 is 15. So a number, x, and half that number decreased by 6, now lower by 6, minus 6, is equals 15. What is that number? So combine your like terms. This is 1x plus 1/2 x. That's 1 and 1/2 x, which is 3/2. X minus 6 equals 15. Trying to get this x term by itself, so add 6 to both sides. 3/2 x equals 21. To get rid of my denominator, I'm going to multiply because denominator means divide. So I have 3x equals 42. Now I'm going to divide by 3. X is 12, 14. Good. Writing the equations, half the battle. Last one. Some students want to order shirts with their school logo. One company charges $9.65 per shirt plus a setup fee of $43. Another company charges $8.40 per shirt and $58 fee. What number of shirts would the cost be the same? Number of shirts. X is number of shirts. Would the cost be the same? That means that they're equal. That was supposed to be an equal sign. All right, so first of all, I'm going to write the price of each company. The company 1 is, price is $9.65 per shirt plus a setup fee of $43. Company 2 is $8.40 per shirt plus $58. So the price per shirt, take that price and multiply it by number of shirts. That's how much you're going to spend total, and then the setup fee. Now I want to know when these are the same. So now I need these two to be equal. So 965x plus 43 is equal to 840x plus 58. Now, pretty much, solve for x. Take something and move it. I need my x's to be on the same sides and my numbers to be on the same sides. So I'm going to move the 840x. And you get 965 minus 840, 125x, 1.25x, plus 43 equals 58. Now I need to get the x term alone, so I need to move that 43. So I subtract it to the other side. 125x minus, well, without the 43, 58 minus 43 is 15. Now I just need to move the $1.25. 15 divided by 125 is 12. So when you buy 12 shirts, the price for both companies is the same. And that is it. Enjoy.